right away.
On November 26, 2010, were you present?
Yeah.
Did you assist in the arrest?
Yeah, we handcuffed him and put him in a vehicle. He was screaming and yelling and kicking. He kicked me in the head a couple of times.
No more questions, Your Honor.
The judge then called a 15-minute recess, and when he got back, he addressed the jury.
I will give a definition of entrapment and will do so later. Ms. Monet, your witness.
You have a BS degree in psychology?
Yeah.
On December 10th, 2009, you spoke with an FBI source at the defendant's mosque?
Yeah.
And your source was in a position of authority?
Yes, ma'am.
You learned that the defendant was hungry?
Yeah.
That there was discord in his family?
Yeah.
That he was easily manipulated and that he was looking for guidance?
Yeah.
The article written by the defendant was Staying in Shape Without Weights. And this was basically a high school gym class.
He wanted to bring war to the West, like Osama bin Laden.
You testify that the defendant used an electronic drop box to communicate?
Yeah.
This was the same method that General Petraeus used to communicate with his girlfriend?
Yes, ma'am.
And it was ineffective since the FBI intercepted all communications.
Okay.
On June 7th, 2010, you received an email from an FBI superior giving the green light to target the defendant.
We wanted to assess him.
The email uses the word target.
That's what it says.
In June of 2010, you worked on the plan to target the defendant with undercover support from the FBI office in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Agent Chin was the handler for undercover operative Youssef.
He was the contact agent.
On June 14th, the defendant was going to fly to Alaska.
Yeah.
Did you have anything to do with the defendant being put on the no-fly list?
No.
At the airport, he learned that he was on the no-fly list and he was met by FBI agents.
We were worried that he would join with Al-Qaeda.
FBI agents interviewed the defendant at the airport.
Yeah.
After this meeting, the FBI started 24/7 surveillance on the defendant.
Yeah.
And he only communicated with his friends, not the people you were expecting.
Yeah.
You were familiar with the defendant's full FBI file.
Yeah.
You knew that he was drinking, smoking marijuana, and involved in immodest partying, all inconsistent with Islam.
Yeah.
In your next email on June 28th, 2010, you invoked the name of Allah and religious duty to get the defendant to meet.
What was I supposed to say? I was from the FBI?
All this effort, and still the defendant did not respond.
True.
On June 29th, you wrote Chin again and advised that he was shy around adults, and you wrote, quote, "We are using everything we have on him."
If that's what it says there.
On July 10th, there was still no response, and the FBI crafted another entrapment email. And finally, on July 16th, the defendant wrote back agreeing to meet at his mosque.
Yeah.
He suggested that they take front seats at the mosque and pray together.
Yeah.
The FBI crafted an enthusiastic affirmative response and moved the meeting to downtown Portland.
We don't go into mosques.
You testified that the defendant's next email on July 26th mentioning spies was a red flag and showed that he was already radicalized.
Yes, ma'am.
However, you were the first one to bring up the idea of spies.
Huh?
Here is your July 24th email, which reads, "You have to be very careful. There are eyes and ears everywhere."
I didn't say spies.
When the defendant was arrested, undercover agent Hussein was fake arrested and kept screaming.
Yeah.
The defendant was quiet and compliant during the first part of the transport.
Yeah.
Then you said something to him in a foreign language to incite him, and that didn't make it in any of the reports. And the reports were otherwise quite detailed.
I think I said, "Be quiet." Then he kicked me in the head a couple of times.
You just testified that he was quiet before you said something to him. What did you say to incite him?
Object. Asked and answered.
Sustained. Move on.
During the investigation, you had recordings of all the defendant's phone calls, text messages, all of his historic emails?
Yeah.
And FBI reports from 24/7 surveillance.
Yeah.
In all of this information gathering, did the defendant show any interest in bomb making?
No.
In fact, the defendant was only interested in writing, kind of like the pen is mightier than the sword.
They never taught me that one.
No further questions.
The judge then cleared the courtroom of public and press to protect the identity of the government's next witness, the undercover FBI agent Youssef. We watched on closed circuit from another courtroom. Lead prosecutor Evan Bishop started with the agent's background.
You've worked for the FBI since 2004 and were previously a software engineer?
Yes.
Did you receive any social science training or training in psychology?
No.
What does target mean?
The person we're investigating.
You started on this case in June of 2010.
Yes.
What information did you have about the defendant?
I only knew his age, that he was a college student, and that he had travel restrictions because he was in contact with dangerous people overseas.
What happened next?
I asked what he was willing to do for the cause.
Then what happened?
I gave him 5 options. Pray 5 times a day, get his engineering degree, raise money, become operational, and become a martyr. He responded right away with operational.
What did that mean to you?
He meant get a car full of explosives and blow people up.
How long did the meeting last?
30 minutes tops.
Did you do a post-meeting debrief?
Yes, with Agent Chin. He wrote up the report, and I signed off on it before I even knew the recorder failed.
When was your next meeting with the defendant?
On August 19th, we got takeout food and went back to the embassy suites to meet with Agent Hussein. He was the Al-Qaeda bomb maker.
Prosecutor Evan Bishop then shows a video from the August 19th, 2010 meeting between the defendant and the 2 undercover agents, Youssef and Hussein. They are in a hotel room in downtown Portland. The defendant is sitting on the floor surrounded by cartons of takeout food. The agents are standing above him.
My parents wouldn't let me go to Yemen.
Really? How long you been thinking about this?
Yeah. My dad called the FBI about brainwashing. It's hard to live in the West as a Muslim.
You know, you can leave anytime you want. This isn't for everyone.
Yeah. There's no shame in leaving. Not everyone can do this. So, what do you want to do?
You know Pioneer Square?
No.
So, on November 26th, they have this tree lighting ceremony. If we had a truck, we could...
You want a truck?
That would take like 3 trucks. This is in your heart.
Back in court,
Why did you say that he could leave any time he wants?
We wanted him to know that he could leave anytime he wants.
Why did you ask what was in his heart?
Public safety became a concern. I needed to assess his state of mind.
Why did you say that there was no shame in leaving?
We wanted him to know that there was no shame in leaving.
What happened next?
We set up another meeting to assess his mindset.
And this was on August 31st?
That's right.
the government then showed video of this meeting.
You need to mail these components to this address in California, okay?
Okay.
We can still get you out if you want. It would take some work, but we can get you out.
You also need to find a place to park the van. It will be a big bomb, so anywhere within 2 blocks is good. We only have 2.5 months to plan this.
No shame. You can stop anytime you want.
You need to get those electronics to California by next week. Can you do it?
In the spring, I'll be married and start a new life. I'll be a good Muslim and pray 5 times a day.
You can pray and write poetry and ride horses every day. I'm so inspired by your writing. The brothers will love your poetry. The van is going to be packed with big barrels of explosives. It will take out a few city blocks or more.
Can you drive a big van, my love?
My love.
Yeah, I'm a good driver. Will you be there?
You're going to get a call to pick up the van. You'll park it, then I'll pick you up. The brothers will get you overseas and you will start your new life. You will be an honored poet.
Got anything to burn?
Back in court,
Why are you giving him detailed instructions?
We were afraid he would martyr himself, so we wanted to keep him busy.
Was this the first time you discussed how big the bomb was?
Yes, and he didn't react at all.
Why did you tell him that he could stop, that you could get him out?
We wanted him to know that he could stop at any time.
What happened next?
On September 16th, he mailed the bomb parts to California. On September 24th, he wrote me an email saying that he found his keys. Those were code words he used to tell me that he had found a parking space for the van.
What did his use of code words mean to you?
He was spycraft sophisticated. He had been thinking about this for a long time.
The next face-to-face meeting was on October 3rd in Corvallis?
Yes.
the government then showed video of this meeting.
So, my love, where did you find your keys?
I didn't lose my keys.
So, my love, did you find a place to park the van?
I found a 15-minute parking space in front of Ben Bridges. That way, if someone is parked there, we can just drive around for 15 minutes.
How far is it from the square?
It is right near there.
Okay. Now we need you to rent a storage space for the bomb. You also need to get 4 passport photos.
I couldn't find a timer, but I mailed the rest of that stuff, like you said.
That's okay, my love. I can get the timer.
And Mr. Bishop reviewed this evidence.
Why are the tasks getting more specific?
We wanted to test his resolve.
Did the defendant hesitate?
No. His mind was already made up to kill Americans.
How did you proceed?
We set up the test explosion for November 4th. Local police picked a site outside Corvallis. Hussein and I picked up the defendant at 8:45 in the morning near the Starbucks.
The government then played audio from the car ride.
So what do you want to do after this is all over and you go overseas?
Turn left.
I'm going to have a wife and a horse, and I'm going to write my, hey, you see that river? That's a nice river. I was supposed to go fishing there last year.
How do you see the war on the West going?
Maybe a bunch of Mumbai-style attacks. Do you think we could stop real quick and...
Allahu Akbar, my son. You are as close to me as my own head and eyes. So what do you see happening next in the war on the West?
In 100 yards.
I had a dream the other night about some more 9/11 stuff.
Very inspirational. We brought a video camera in case you want to make a video explaining why you're doing this. Of course, it is up to you.
Back in court,
Why talk about overseas?
We wanted to give him something to look forward to. We were afraid he would do something on his own, martyr himself.
What did you think when the defendant started talking about 9/11?
That scared us.